Hello, and welcome to the Casino Tears podcast. I'm one of your hosts, 10 Ton is number one, and joining me as my co-host is the one and only Ed Robinson from Roll to Win Craps. If you want more info on our show, please visit our page at casinotears.com. On this week's show, we discuss dice coach wisdom, energy disruption, lay bets, changing sets. We also touch on private table assignments, hand-ins, Aliante, Aria, FOMO, the Yuri Grip, and how Ed and Beau define dice influence.
Well, you're zoomed in on your freaking nostrils for one thing.
How do you like it?
Yeah. I don't really like it. I can count your nose hairs if I want to.
Dude, this is fucked up. Oh my God.
All right. Did that help my sound now?
Yes. Ed, every time Beau calls me, I answer the phone. I'm like, dice coach dialing in.
There he is.
This is kind of like a little feature now.
What is?
You, dice coach dialing in every 10 episodes, man.
Yeah, if we can dial in faster than 45 minutes.
That's production. That's what happens, man.
That's what happens. Yeah. Even happens on the big screen TV.
This is going to be episode 30. And then next time we'll talk is going to be episode 40.
Okay. I have you know, I've got my Casino Tears hat on, my Casino Tears shirt on. I've got my gaming license right here too. Okay. You see that?
Yeah,
and
that
then,
thing's magic.
It is. And then the Casino Tears Bailey's and coffee cup for tonight. So what's going on? What's good in your world?
Beau, there's been a bunch of little topics that have been popping up over the past, since you've been on.
Okay.
It'd be great to get your take on a couple of these. And I got some questions. Ed, I got some questions. Like,
you're going to tell Beau on me?
No, yeah, I'm going to tell Beau on you.
What's that?
Oh, okay. Might as well just jump right into it.
He's going to tell on me, Beau.
All right. It's all right. We'll see.
Ed and I were talking about two things. Laying numbers about the vibe change. Okay. How Ed, I've been picking up a lot of your sort of Beau-isms, right? Some, not all.
Correct.
Like the one with stick changes. And when there's a stick change, I'm now noticing and I'm more apt to turn my bets off because that is an energy disruptor. It comes in there and just screws with everything. Ed, what do you say? We got into a pretty not necessarily heated debate, but I said he is not a fan of that. And I was like, I'm telling Beau on you.
Everybody's not a fan of it, but you either believe it or you don't. It's as simple as that. I mean, if Ed doesn't believe that, that's his show, right? Give us your take, Ed. What do you think?
Well, I was ragging him about the metaphysical thing a little bit. I was trying to put him in a corner and he just wouldn't quite back all the way in, but he was talking about it changes the vibe of the table. Oh, I believe I'm going to turn my bets off every time there's a stick change. I said, why? He's like, well, it changes. I said, well, the guy that you had up on your bets, who's been shoving you the dice for the last 20 minutes, is going to walk around. He's going to stand right in front of you. Now he's your dealer and he's still rooting for you. And you just told him to turn your bets off and his are still on. That's a confusing thing. And then I said, I like stick changes. And then he thought I was crazy.
Well, I'll tell you
I said, the more stick changes I have during my throw, the longer I'm throwing. I said, I want to see 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, whatever.
And then add 20 minutes times 20 minutes on each one of those.
Yes, sir. That's the way I think about it. Now, so the dice change doesn't bother me at all. Sometimes I'm not even aware they've changed the dice until I hear it in my ear that, dice out or whatever.
Sure.
If you're locked in, I guess that's the whole point. If you're not paying attention to anything else going on, and you're only working on what's going on between your ears and getting ready to throw, then none of that other stuff should affect you. It's kind of like, we'll get into this too, a don't player on the table or whatever. But anyway, we got into it. And I said, I love stick changes. He said, I'm going to tell Beau on you.
Beau, since we've been talking a lot more about sessions and everything, Ed, I'm sorry. I can't believe I do it actually, but What's do that? It now. When a stick change, I'm like really on high alert. I am on high alert and I'm analyzing everything. And Beau, check this out, man. I was at Paris at the repeater table and I was rolling. There was a stick change, and it was all girls, dealers, and I loved them all. Can the vibe change that much? Ed, kid you not, stick change. She comes in, fucking 7, next toss. And I'm like,
Who was a shooter?
stick right one. And I was like, should have turned my fucking bets off. Beau's right. Because I see it happen more than not. And maybe it's just confirmation bias. But Ed, I'm telling you, I did it the other night too at Aria. I just left one on. I split the difference. I turned my bets off.
Did you hop the hot number when you turned your bets off?
No, I did not.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
I was too much processing going on at that moment.
You got, that's too much to think about. You got to take it one step at a
I was
time.
just worried about
turn my bets off, and then you got to sit there. And then eventually you're going to say, turn my bets off, hop my 6.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea. And maybe I'll get there. It's like building blocks.
Don't waste a roll on a hot number, dude. I've been telling you that for 26 episodes.
But I was more worried about the whole roll going sideways and ending because of the stick change.
And it did.
It did.
Well, it's a belief system. Everybody has different belief systems, right? And it's a metaphysical energy change in the game. And if you believe that's what's going to happen, guess what? A lot of times it'll happen. Now, I'll tell you this little story. One time at Paris, one of your favorite places, we were shooting. I forget who the shooter was. It wasn't me. They were ready to do a stick change. The shooter was really hot. We were tipping the dealers, and they were making a lot of money, and they refused. The guy just stood there. They would not do a stick change until the guy either made his point or he 7'd out. And he stood there for 20 minutes.
I've seen sticks wave off the change.
Yep.
That's pretty sweet.
So there you go.
Several times.
There's part of the metaphysical energy then. That's a good way to go. Then you don't have to worry about turning your bets off.
So I mean, I have seen dealers or stick people say, just wave them off. No, I'm not leaving the table.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when the players are tipping. They like,
oh yeah,
you want to keep that. You want to keep that energy going for you and them, and they know it too. They know it when you get the table rolling, right?
Yep.
Hey, they know it. That's what they're there for. I'd hate to make minimum wage and not get any tips. That's for damn sure.
All right. So Beau, when I was in Biloxi and we were on our private table, I would lean over to the guy to my left. We call him Rock, but you don't know him. Anyway, so I'd say, I'm going to play this one like Beau. I did that 2 or 3 times. And Gargoyle was tossing the dice from stick right, 2.5, 3, coming down my way. And I had pressed my 4 up to $250 from $25.
How did you do that?
25, 50, 100, 250.
Okay.
So I got my money back.
You're riding for free.
Yeah, I'm riding for free looking for a $500 hit, which will then go to 1,000. Yeah.
What was their table max there?
5,000.
Okay, good. Just like in Vegas.
And he threw an ace deuce. I turned my bets off.
And hit the 4.
Yeah, he threw that fucker right then.
Well, listen, the ace deuce is an alert number, but it's the weakest one of all of them. That's
now
the weakest
you tell
one.
me. Now you tell me.
The weakest one.
I didn't do a field bet, and I didn't do. I'd totally spaced out and forgot.
Horn high, ace deuce, and field.
I didn't do that because I got to listen. I said, what did I miss? I was listening to that podcast on my way back. So like, what did I miss? So then I went, turn my bets on. He threw another number. Then he threw an ace deuce again. And the guy says, you going to turn your bets off this time? I said, well, the last time he did, he threw a 4. So I'm going to leave him on. I left him on. And then he threw a 7.
Well, maybe you should have done is turn him off and hop the 4.
Well,
you would save some money.
speaking of that, talking about hopping a hot number again, another number was, I don't know, 9, whatever was the point during that process. And I had a $250 4. And he hit the point, and I threw $30 out there and said, hop the 4s, 15 each. And he threw a hard 4.
Nice.
Yeah, it was very nice.
450.
Yes, sir. It was a great little hit.
Nice hit. That made up when you left your bets on when you lost it. See, so
yeah, that was the only thing that kept me from being really aggravated at Beau Parker about that point.
Oh well, that's all right. I've been aggravated at before. Yikes, mister.
Yeah, no, I tried that 2 or 3 times, and my timing was terrible. Every time I would do that, it just didn't work.
Well, remember, nothing's 100%.
Oh, I know. I know.
Nothing, you know,
I know that.
nothing's 100%. So it'll either work really, really well, or sometimes it doesn't work at all. Actually, it works better on random shooters than it does on precision shooters, because, you know, sometimes precision shooters can overcome all those obstacles, like stick changes, like, you know, bad numbers showing up, so forth and so on.
Right.
So you got to read what's happening. We're playing in the moment again.
Yeah. So anyway, I tried it. I'll do it again when I go. I mean, I'll keep it in mind. My timing just sucked on that particular.
Well, if it doesn't work for you, if it doesn't work, then don't do it. And as soon as you don't do it, then here comes the 7. God damn it, he was right this time.
Yeah, of course. Confirmation and non-confirmation bias working all at the same time.
Exactly. Or you can leave them on an 8, hop the 7s. Well, I'm working. Then then you can't lose, Ed. I love the people that come up, hey, I got a betting strategy that just can't lose. There is no such thing.
No, there is no such thing.
Oh, you got to love it. What a game, huh?
Oh, I know. It is a crazy game.
So, Ed, there is also something else.
Is this beat up on Ed night?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, he usually beats up on me.
He brought you in to team up with him to beat on me.
Oh, he can't handle you by himself, huh?
No.
I like it though. Beau and I wearing the Casino Tears hat. I like it, Beau. That's awesome.
Casino Tears shirt. See the shirt?
Yeah, I know, it's awesome. It's so crazy, man. The first day Ed doesn't wear that shirt, Beau wears it.
Everybody wears it. I know. This is like the first time in months I hadn't worn it.
I know, you look good in that black shirt, man.
I'm feeling it.
Ed reminds me of Burt Reynolds, man. He just does.
That's what's the girl's name that Shake and Bake?
Oh yeah. Miss Shake and Bake.
Yeah, she said that you remind her of Burt Reynolds.
Oh, that's because I was wearing my hat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We were talking about also laying a number. I wanted to lay a number on Crapless going for the ATS.
Right.
And in a couple situations, Ed and I were going, well, doesn't laying a number change the vibe of the roll? Because Lord Toranaga, who you don't know, who's going to take a lesson from you when he comes up to LA, Ed, he had a massive roll at Horseshoe. He only needed the 9. If he hits the 9, I win 9,000, right? Because I had 100 on it. I laid the 9, okay, for like 2,400 to win 1,600. But it did cause a little delay that I never mentioned of just like figuring out what to lay. A couple rolls later, like 2 rolls later, he 7'd out. Going back on it, he just left that comment. He's like, maybe that lay interfered. And I almost think maybe there's some truth to this, because you are actually sort of interrupting the flow, laying something.
If you've got to my opinion, if you've got to get into the calculation of it and all that, and you've got a skilled shooter, you're just fucking up the skilled shooter.
You are fucking it up. Beau, what do you think about that?
Well, my example that you had on the last podcast, 35 rolls in, I need the 8. Now, how many times should I have hit in the 8?
Turn your bets off.
How many times should I have hit the 8 and 35 rolls, right?
Yeah.
At least 4 or 5, right? Okay. I hit none. I'm not going to hit the 8 no matter what set I'm using. It's just not going to happen. So I took all my bets down, laid the 8, boom, 2 rolls later, there's the 7. There you go. I don't think I changed a thing other than the fact that I wasn't going to hit the 8 anyway. Then, of course, when the dice moved to the other end of the table, a couple rolls later, here comes the 8, and then they keep rolling.
Yep.
Okay, Ed, remember when I was telling you about Durango?
And you forgot.
And I forgot. Remember, Beau, when I called?
Yes, yeah, I remember that. Yep, you forgot to lay.
I could have left up over 40%. Instead, I left up just 20% because I was so consumed with that, and I forgot to lay the 8.
It was the 8
for 600, which would have paid me 500, which was actually more than my 20% that I already had locked up. If you were at the table, and let's say you were shooting, and you just needed the 8, would that me just all of a sudden, lay the 8? Would that have?
Okay, what I would do is wait. There's 5 ways to make it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're not using the 6-8 set, change your set. Okay, call your other bets off so you don't screw that up. And if you don't hit it in 4 or 5 rolls, then lay it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't shooting.
Okay, that's fine. So what you're doing is you're guaranteeing yourself a higher profit if he does 7 out before that.
Well, I know.
And he's also guaranteeing a profit if he does hit the number,
but not as much, but not nearly as much.
Not as much, but he's still he's guaranteeing a winner
is that me bringing in some negative energy to the table and some negative vibes, like laying that?
I don't think so. But you may, but what Ed's saying is you stalled the game.
I did I didn't mean
by
to.
screwing around.
Fuck.
You need to know. Look, you need to know when you're laying something exactly what it pays, so you don't fiddle fart around putting the money out there. You're holding the game up.
And that's the biggest problem people have.
They don't know what it pays.
They don't know what it pays because they're not used to playing the dark side. They're not used to laying a number to win a specific amount. And it's really not that complicated.
It's backwards.
Yes, that's all it is.
Instead of 3 to 2, it's 2 to 3 minus a 5% vig on the win.
Yeah. 6 or 8, lay it for 2,100 and you'll win 1,800.
Minus the vig, 5%. Now here's another problem. Some of the casinos want the vig up front and others do it after the fact.
Yeah.
The Horseshoe wanted it up front, and that's what caused the delay, by the way. So I need to actually be super, super well rehearsed with my lay amounts so I can just get them in quick and not disrupt the flow. So I'm going to officially apologize to Lord Toranaga for fucking up a massive roll because I was part of that speed bump.
You were the speed bump.
I was. No. The dealers that not even knowing the amounts either also.
Was that what'd you say that was? At Binion's?
That Horseshoe.
On the
Horseshoe
strip?
right here. Yeah, on the strip.
Okay. Wow. Yikes, mister. Yeah, that's how to become very unpopular very quick.
But I had the most actually at stake anyway. That's the funny thing is the whole time I'm usually the guy with the big bets out there.
Well, you're looking for protections like your craps condom, right?
Ed, get the craps condom, dude. We need to. There's a commercial somewhere.
There goes another BS. Another Beau saying. We've got a list of BSs going. That's called Beau sayings.
That's a good one.
Nothing's 100%, but when it works, baby, it really put a smile on your face. God damn, he's right again.
Yeah, it's funny because we were talking about, and Ed was like, do you have the BB? And I'm, what? And you have the what?
The BS.
And he was like, the Beau's blessing. And I was like, oh, I mean, it was about my move, the 10-ton 2-hit takedown. It's when I press up. Like, remember when I was at your house, when I have 100 on the 5 or 9,
right.
It hits, I throw you 10, you go to 250. Next hit, I drop it back down either to 100 or down to 50.
If you're still in the game.
Yeah. And then I said, Beau would say, well, if you have the bankroll, it's okay to do it, right?
That's right. Everything's bankroll dependent. I don't care what you bet. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much you're betting as long as your bankroll can support it.
I think I had the Beau blessing on that, Ed.
All right.
I think so. I think it was so maybe not, but sort of like he okayed it maybe.
And there you go.
Maybe.
But see, that's what's so cool about this game. There's not one game that's like the last game. You don't know what you're getting into when you get to the game. That's why you got to be careful. And I'm sure Ed plays this way. He tiptoes in. I tiptoe in to see what's the tiptoe. Yeah, Tiny Tim. What's the game? What's the table giving up? I mean, sometimes you just said you go to a table, and it's not giving up anything. So
just
why
sevens.
sit there and lose a bunch of money?
Yeah, leave.
Yeah, get the hell out of there.
I'd rather walk away and with $150 loss and go, I just don't like this table. I don't like
no,
tables.
Exactly.
And go win it at another table somewhere. Win it back.
Or more or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's my point. Is just leave.
Yeah. Like I said, the grind game, you're going to lose.
So do you play much dark side?
Well, it depends. If it's a dark table, I'll play dark side. But here's the deal. Here's the problem. Okay. In your case, when you were in Biloxi, you reserved a table.
Yeah.
You know everybody there. You're all friends. You're all players. You play together. You can't bet against each other.
No, we had that in our pregame meeting. No dark side play.
Exactly, and you have to do that.
And we didn't have an ATS to worry about or anything. Like
well, it doesn't matter whether you did or you didn't. It doesn't matter. But you can't bet against, like when I have students that sign up for classes with casino sessions. If we're having a bad session, I can't bet against the guy who just paid me to have a casino session with them, right? That's giving them negative support. I got to give them positive support. But what I would do is pull them off the table, take a break, go somewhere else.
I mean, we had people from all over the country from there, and we had really good, qualified shooters, obviously, on the table.
Perfect. At the same time.
all at the same time. When we set it up, we assigned positions because they would not allow us to move positions once we were there. I
Right.
mean,
You're stuck.
unless you wanted to just permanently go somewhere else and somebody else come into your spot or whatever. But we couldn't. They didn't have any of this rotating. Sliding in and out, in and out. You had to stay. You had to stay where you were. We had a little diagram. You're here, you're here, and you're here. We know your strengths. We know where you shoot from. We've watched you all weekend. You're here, and you're our straight out shooter. And everybody else, you're not going to throw until we've gone 3 rounds around the table. And then we had 2 assigned that never were allowed to shoot. Basically, they were just there to bet and to make sure that we had dealer money always going.
And be blockers.
Well, there was also the rule was no pass lines on the receiving end of the table.
There you go.
That was the other rule.
Yeah, so they're
just wide open. It's just wide open.
Oh yeah, that's nothing to interfere with the dice.
Yeah,
that's good. That's the way it should be, especially when you reserve a table.
We had a good time. I mean, they gave us that table, Beau, from 4 p.m. to midnight.
Nice. 8 hours.
And all we had to do was rotate out for going to eat. I mean, people take bathroom breaks or whatever, but I mean, people were crossing their legs trying not to pee because the table was so good. I have never seen, I know we've already done this, but I'll just tell Beau, I have never seen so many hard ways in one weekend and all in hand after hand after hand and people parlaying them suckers up and just freaking killing it. I mean, they were going from $5 hard ways and ended up hitting $100 hard 8. I mean,
nice.
That was just over and over and over all weekend. It was crazy.
So did you get any heat at all from the casino?
None. They loved us.
Did anybody, the guy who reserved the table for you, did you talk to him after the end, the casino manager or whatever?
We talked to our host, and the casino manager said we were welcome back anytime. Loved the way we played, loved the way we took care of the dealers, and everybody, they loved having people who knew how to play the game on tables.
There you go. That makes a big difference.
Because when we had at the actual meetup just during the weekend, we had close to 50 people there. Wow,
that's good.
And
that's
so,
awesome. That's a lot.
We could fill up table in a hurry.
You could have filled up several tables.
We did. I mean, we did. And then sometimes people would just, people do what they do. They team up, partner up, and go to another casino down the road or something.
Another thing, when we have groups and we reserve a table, say you have a group of 12 people, okay? And you go to the casino. Well, what we do is I collect $25 from each one of the players and do a $400 hand in to the dealers before the dice even go out. So they get a $400 tip, for just inviting us into their house and letting us play on their game. And then we also bet for them as well, tipping in and so forth along the way. So they loved it.
That's setting up positive vibes, man.
Oh yeah, you're buying a team, right?
Yeah, you are buying a team. So, Beau, where would you if you had to pick a spot for a private table? Where would your tables be?
Well, we did a lot of them out here at Aliante, just about 5 miles from my house when we were doing the Dice Busters.
What do you think of those tables at Aliante? By the way, side note, little footnote, Aliante, the first time I was ever in that casino was the first time I ever made them all.
Ooh, baby, that's good.
Yeah, yep.
That's a little bouncy.
It is a little bouncy.
A little bouncy. Not my favorite place, but it's close.
Is that why you did it, just for proximity, or?
Well, no, because we could reserve a table. They treated us well.
Nice.
Everybody got comps. The casino manager even came up. The one session we had, we took like 25 grand off the table, and the casino manager came up and made sure we were treated well. I said, dude, we just hit you for 25,000. He said, that's all right. It's gambling. It's the way it goes. You'll be back. He said, we'll get it back from you. I said, oh, okay. So he had a good attitude. They had a good attitude in there, from the casino manager down to the dealers. And I know the dealers there and everything, so it's all cool.
Is there a strip property that if you had to say, okay, you get a private table, Beau, where would it be on the strip?
Well, the one that we did have was the one at Caesars. That
Table
I told you about.
8?
Table 8, yep.
I'm looking for table 8, Ed. I might go there tonight.
It's by the pillar, the closest to the cage.
There's 2 right there.
They've got numbers.
They got numbers on them. All you got to do is find them.
I'm gonna go look and play on it.
And that's the table I was playing on when I couldn't hit the 8 on my 35 hand roll.
Yep.
On table 8. I just thought of that just now. That is crazy. Now put that metaphysical energy in your hat and smoke it, right?
Yeah. Table 8. No way.
Table 8. No 8.
It's already here.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Ed, Beau, I want to both ask you this question. So many different definitions on dice influence. Is there an agreed upon definition, or one that you have, Beau, and one that you have, Ed, as far as like, what's the definition of dice influence?
Well, there is no such thing as dice control.
Right.
Unless you can walk across water, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So dice influence is all we're trying to do is just influence the dice enough to avoid the 7. Just because say you're throwing a 6-8 set, you may not even hit a 6 or an 8. That's okay. If that set's working for you and you're hitting 4s and 10s like crazy, who cares? You're avoiding the 7. So there's no control, but there is some control, but there is not like control like people like other like Golden Touch Craps explains to you. Take our class to learn how to control the dice. You can't control the dice, because control would be, okay, Ed, set midnight for me, and I want to see a midnight, and I want to put $100 on it and parlay it, and we're out of here. That would be control, right? Calling a number every time. You can't call a number every time.
Just double your bet the first time when I throw it, please. Don't make me do it twice.
There you go. But you know what I mean? That makes sense.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
There's not enough DIs out there, let alone anybody that's a
to
DC.
control them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So at the core of any definition of DI, then it would just be avoiding the 7. Pretty much at the core, right?
Well, that's the whole that's the whole point of the game, isn't it? Not to hit the 7 unless you're a dark sider, but you can't bet against. I've never bet against myself. I did it once. I did it once. It didn't work. It got so bad I was even throwing random, and it still didn't work.
So Ed, then what makes a dice influencer though? Because I get asked that, like, well, what is dice influence? And by the way, Birdman asked me this in relation to Jaybird when he was on his ideas of practice, or talking about how long he's been practicing. Beau, like, how long does it take to become, let's say, a controlled shooter or a dice influencer? Ed, you've been playing forever. It's legendary, the amount of practice that you put in and years of repetition. And this is some guy that's been playing for, Jaybird's been playing and practicing for 6 months. How long, because you guys have been playing for so long, how long does it take someone to, I guess, enter that realm of being, saying they are like a DI or a controlled shooter?
In my mind, it starts over every session. See what I'm saying? Because there's a lot of variables involved.
Yeah, but how long has somebody got to, they can't take a class and immediately be a DI. They may be better than they were before they took the class, but they've got to take what they've been taught and repeat it over and over and over and over until they kind of get it cemented in.
Yeah, muscle memory. You get muscle memory, right?
So I think my definition and all would be probably the same, but different in a way. I mean, a controlled toss will deliver some kind of quote unquote controlled result. I mean, if you're gripping them the same way, you're giving them the same arc, the same velocity, same amount of rotation, and they're landing in the same spot, you're going to get some kind of controlled result based off that controlled toss. Now, it might be 7 after 7 after 7, but that's still a control. You're just using the wrong set at that point. But true. I think somebody, when you can get it, again, it's like he said, you might be throwing your 6-8 set and hitting 4s and 10s, right? So, and that happens a lot. That happens a lot with people who practice a lot because they know what their sets are supposed to give them. And sometimes they don't get what they're supposed to get. They get something else. Nate's as good an example as anybody I know. He'll know exactly what he's supposed to be getting, and he's getting something else, and he'll switch to the set that's supposed to be giving him the other, and he gets what he wants out of it, But so, he might go to a horn set to get his 6s and 8s or something sometimes because his 6 and 8 sets giving him horn. So he'll go to a horn set. But I look for repeaters. I think repeater numbers really kind of tell the story. Once you get into a hand that develops, you can throw for 6 rolls. You can throw for 7 rolls. Unless you've got starting to get repeaters early on, and all you're doing is splattering it, something's off or something's not right. I mean, if you've thrown 6 times and you've hit every box number, Well, yeah, you probably made some money, but you haven't repeated any of those numbers yet. So something's off and you've got to start looking for why. And so a good DI after a time will know that they need to change something, whether it's the
Mhm.
landing zone or their arc, rotation, or their set. I mean, those are the things you can change. You can change grip. So I look for repeaters. I think a good DI will throw repeating numbers more often than the average would allow, right? And they may never throw that 8 that you need 10-ton.
Yeah, I need that
They
8.
may never
Beau
throw
needed
that
it
8.
too.
All right. So we had a guy, Beau, down in Biloxi. I was not there. I was already upstairs in my room, and I don't consider him a DI at all. But he was trying his best. He was trying. He threw 15 nines in one hand.
Nice.
Jesus, now that is above average.
And
Quite a bit.
that was with somebody tracking the rolls. That's how we know what he threw.
Anybody hop the nines?
Documented.
No, I don't know. I wasn't there. I mean, I would have made $40,000 or so off that hand, just off the 9.
That's a lot of nines, man.
Man,
That's I mean, I'd have been at House Max for at
9.
least 4 or 5 of those tosses because finally you'd have just finally said, "Screw it, take me to 5,000."
Right. And hop it.
Yeah, and then hop it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you can afford to do some hops.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, there's ways to get around that House Max, even if they wouldn't let you do a put bet.
There you go.
Have you guys ever been on a table when this has happened to me so many times? It's like I've got every number maybe up there, right? Except one, right? One, I've got all the place bets. And let's say I don't have a 5, right? For some reason, I didn't have a 5. And then the 5 rolls, and then it rolls again. And then a couple of it rolls again. And then I look at the dealer and they're looking at me like the stick person. And I'm afraid to put it on there. I'm like, it's too late. It can't keep going. And then,
You're wrong.
I know. It's like, but have you been there? I've been. I have.
Well, look at,
all the time.
but tend to look at. If you see, you got all the numbers covered, but the 5, right?
Yep.
Okay, now the 5 finally rolls, right?
Yep.
Put your quarter on it right now. Okay, so it hits again, then boom, you're off to the races. You don't have to sit there and second guess whether it is, because remember, each number is an independent occurrence.
Sometimes it doesn't seem like that. Sometimes.
I know, but that's the beauty of this game, man. This is cool.
That happens to me more on the Crapless table than any number. And I can tell you exactly what the number is. It's always hitting when I'm not on it.
What is it, Ed?
9.
Really?
Yep. The way I play Crapless, the 9 is one of the last numbers I cover.
Do you like Crapless, Ed?
Well, I mean, you like it when it's working.
Oh, yeah.
You don't like it when it's not. I mean, that's just like anything else. But I enjoy playing it. I enjoy trying to get it, but I will leave a Crapless table in a heartbeat if I don't like what's going on.
Yeah,
because you get so much money. I mean, a lot of time, I mean, I play cheap, so you spend a lot of time and rolls getting everything built up the way you want it. Then the 7 comes. And you've hardly taken anything off because you've been working to get everything built up. I mean, some of that's table minimum, whatever the table minimum in dictates how you play it too sometimes for me, because I'm low rolling. But I mean, I love to play Crapless. Mississippi, half the tables are Crapless.
Yeah.
Man, I love Crapless, man. I didn't like it at first, but I love it.
The only thing I like about it, you can't lose on a come out. That's the only thing you can't do is can't lose on a come out at Crapless. But I'm not really a big proponent of Crapless. Sorry, guys.
I know you don't like Crapless. Why?
I got students. Well, like Ed said, look, if you want to cover all those friggin' numbers, you got a bundle of money out there. Sure.
Yeah.
When the crap numbers are hitting, look at this, look at all the money I made. Ooh. But,
I've kind of got a rule for myself. If I can't hit at least one horn number per roll,
then why play it?
Then I need to get on a regular table.
But you don't have to. You can still play it like a regular table.
You can, but what's the use? Because then you're giving up the edge on the pass line that you have with the 11.
That's right.
I mean, why? I mean, the Crapless has got a much higher house edge when you make the 11 a point instead of the pass line winner.
Yeah.
There's no denying that.
Right.
That does not make me dislike it. Okay. That in and of itself, it means it's a different game. So if I'm playing it on the cheap, I'm betting a 6, 8, 3, and 11 and a field bet. And that's ultimately why my 9 ends up being the one that's hitting, and I don't have anything on it because I'll cover the 5 or I'll cover the 2 and 12 immediately off the field, and then I'll drop another field bet, pick up the 5 if I can, and then I'll go the 4 and 10. Then there sits the 9 with nothing on it, and then they start throwing 9s.
Okay, wait a minute. Your field there, you isn't 9 in the field on yours?
Well, I stop. I kind of stop after I've got most
Oh,
everything
okay. You
else.
stop the field bet.
Yeah,
You
I
stop
mean,
the field,
after
okay.
a while, you want to stop because it just bleeds off your other wins.
Well, yeah, if you're hitting 5, 6s, and 8s, you're
Yeah.
wasting the field bet.
So so I generally stop at some point and say I'll wait and see if I can see a 9 before I place it.
There you go.
No, yeah, it's just.
Well, that makes sense.
But I
If
want to
it's-
win, so I got to get money in the rack. So I,
Well,
I
yeah.
don't want to.
That's the point.
Yeah, and it's hard to do when you get everything. Every time you're taking something, you're just kind of spreading it out, and you're not really taking anything off. And so 6 rolls in, then you get a 7.
Crapless takes discipline,
the-
man. It's like you got to adjust your game plan
And
to
a
get
bigger
some money.
bankroll. And a bigger
Well, I guess
bankroll.
that, but or just like not worry about like have that FOMO of all these, not,
Afraid of missing out?
yeah.
We had a guy down in Biloxi had a really, really long roll on the Crapless. The rest of us just kind of average or less. So, but I didn't stay after he had his roll. I colored myself up.
Go to the cage, right?
Well, I went to another table.
Oh.
I have to be honest, but I got off that table.
Ed, I was telling Beau that like at Caesars on the Crapless, they don't allow you to lay anything, whereas Crapless at Paris, they do allow you to lay numbers.
That's no advantage.
I know.
Unless you want to lay. I mean, we used to play it at the Strat, and we were lay the 4 and work the horns on the come out. And so then you kind of had a decent little hedge on the come out, and then you bring your lay down if you wanted to. But you can do that. I mean, it's ridiculous to lay the 11 or the 3 aces or 12.
No, that would be ridiculous.
I was telling Ed on the last show we recorded that when I was at Paris, there was a guy that was laying just the 2 and 12. He was
That's
laying
crazy.
it for 1,200 each number. And I was like, how is that going for you? And I said, and he was like, it's been really tough. And I was just thinking, how did he do this? He was gone anyway. He ended up like losing his money. But I'm like, wow, you're betting 1,200 to win
to make 200. Yeah.
That's such an idiotic.
You said
thing
the
to
same
do.
thing, Ed. You were like, but it's funny, man, that there was someone betting that. I see a lot of people do that at Paris. They'll bet 600 on the 12 and 2.
No.
Yeah, literally.
No.
I'll send them.
They'll
your
lay.
way.
You mean they'll lay it? They'll lay it.
They'll lay it. Yeah.
All it takes is 1, and then they got to win that damn thing 6 times to break even.
That's crazy.
I know it's crazy, but it's pretty funny.
You'll be surprised. I mean, every table is going to play different. I've seen people who track rolls. One time we had at the Strat, same time at the Strat we were playing. It was 2.5 hours before anybody rolled a 12. 2.5 hours. It was a long time before you saw a 12.
Oh, I got a question for both of you guys. Speaking of that, you guys are the 2 guys that would be able to answer this question. A full-length extended version of this podcast is available exclusively on our Patreon page. New episodes drop weekly every Tuesday. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and will tell all of your fellow craps playing friends about it. Please follow Casino Tears on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. If you like the show, please rate it 5 stars and leave a review. The best and most fun way to contact us would be to call and leave a message on our official Casino Tears vent line, 229-07. You can also email us at no7@casinotears.com. New episodes drop weekly every Tuesday. And lastly, to help support this podcast, you can visit our Patreon at patreon.com/casinotears. On behalf of Roll to Win Craps from Alabama and 10 Ton is #1 from Las Vegas, thanks for listening.